we just got it revealed which players have made the NBA All-Star Game as reserves. And as I was mentioning, we have one Raptor who made it, one Raptor who might have made it but didn't end up making it, and two former Raptors who are in the game. So let's go through both of the rosters. We'll talk about the Raptor that made it. We'll talk about if they should have a second person there, and if anybody else was snubbed and anybody else on the teams actually maybe shouldn't being there. We'll break it all down right now. So this was revealed during the Sunday window of games, which by the way, I think is really dumb. Like, the Raptors basically found out who their all-stars were and weren't during the first quarter of their win against the Utah Jazz. Like, why should a player have to find out while they're in a game if they didn't make it and they're disappointed now? Like, that shouldn't be the case. NBA has got to fix this. They need to reveal the all-stars like midday or just like at a time where there are no NBA games. Like, maybe even wait until after the games are complete. They got to do a better job than revealing it during the game, I think. But during the reveal, we found out that Scottie Barnes is, in fact, yes, an NBA All-Star for the second time in his career. Unfortunately, there was no room for a second Raptor in Brandon Ingram. It was always going to be difficult. It's always difficult to get two All-Stars. Typically, you have to be one of like the real higher seeds for the coaches who select the All-Star reserves to think like, this team deserves having two All-Stars. Like, this stuff tends to matter to them. So it was always going to be difficult there. But unfortunately, Brandon Ingram, despite his quality play so far this season, didn't quite get in. And I have to say, it's kind of tough to make a case for him against the other people that did make it. Let's start off with the Western Conference here and look at the players who did end up getting into the All-Star game. So obviously the starters we already had Curry, Doncic, Shea, Jokic, Wemby. Not a ton of debate there. Anthony Edwards had a really good shot of getting in. He ended up just missing out on being a starter, but he does get in as reserve alongside Devin Booker, who's playing very well. And the Suns have been excellent this season, shockingly. We have Kevin Durant, Chet Holmgren, Jamal Murray, Denny Avdija, and LeBron James. So LeBron definitely getting in, the legacy vote. Guys like Kobe have gotten in before like this. Even the year I think Dirk and Wade got in. It was, okay, he didn't deserve it, but okay, LeBron's has got to get in. Jamal Murray, super happy for him. First-time All-Star. First time ever Nikola Jokic, by the way, has an All-Star teammate, so that's great. Super happy for a Canadian guard in Jamal Murray. Denny Avdija seems to be the most contentious choice out of the Western Conference, which we'll touch on a little bit more in just a second here. But shifting to the Eastern Conference, the starters, of course, Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Brunson, Cade, Tyrese Maxey. They've all been exceptional this season. Again, not really a lot you can debate there. As for the reserves, Scottie Barnes, yes, like I said, an NBA All-Star, along with Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, former Raptor, first All-Star appearance, Pascal Siakam, former Raptor, fourth All-Star appearance, and Karl Anthony Towns. So right away, people looked at Siakam. They looked at I think they're 13-win Indiana Pacers. They are a bottom 2 seed in the Eastern Conference. You take a look at the standings here. There is, I mean, they're actually bottom right now. There is a right to be confused as to how the bottom seed in the Eastern Conference has a player in the NBA All-Star game, Pascal Siakam. I mean, I don't want to take away a lot from Pascal Siakam's season. Plus, biased. I am a very large Pascal Siakam fan. He's playing extremely well. He's operated like an All-Star season. He's scoring an efficient 24 points per game. And is the driving force, of this team, all the offense that they're getting, but they're the bottom seed, and no player has made it with a worse record than this since Kobe Bryant in 2016 when the Lakers had 9 wins. And like I said, you get that legacy vote like LeBron gets. But let's focus on the positives to start here. Scottie Barnes is an NBA All-Star, and I didn't want to. I really wanted this for Scottie Barnes, and he absolutely deserved it this season. It felt like for a lot of the season so far that like for sure he had to get in, right? I didn't want to tempt fate and said he was a lock to get in, but he really should have been a lock to get in. I just always concerned about how Raptors players are going to be treated and things like this. But he does get in. There cannot be any arguments here. The Raptors are the 4 seed. He has been the best player on that 4 seed. He's averaging an efficient 19.3 points per game, 8.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists. Doing all of this as well. I'm just looking at the true shooting percentage here. True shooting percentage of 57.4, the highest of his career, a huge upgrade compared to last season. And he's doing all of this amazing stuff on offense while playing like a defensive player of the year candidate, a legitimate defensive player of the year candidate. I mean, at this rate, he is looking extremely good to make an all-defense team, which the strides he has taken at this aspect of his game is sensational. And I'm so happy for him. So very much deserving of this spot here that you don't even really need to cover it any further. Now, the player that hasn't gotten in is Brandon Ingram. He had a shot. I said before it was announced that I wouldn't be shocked if he did get in. I also wouldn't be shocked if he didn't get in. And there's just only so many spaces available for these guys that it wasn't enough for Ingram. He averaged 22 points per game, 47% from the field, 36% from 3. True shooting percentage, good measure of efficiency of 56.6. Decent there. And just the Raptors record. Like, they probably were good enough record-wise to maybe get a second All-Star in. But unfortunately, I do have to say once again that I'm not completely shocked he didn't get in here. And when I saw he didn't get in, I was upset. I looked at the team and decided, you know what? I can understand why that's the case. It's hard to get a second All-Star, first of all, but I think everyone in here is pretty deserving of their spot. Like Jalen Duren, pretty solid case, great player, plus the Pistons are the 1 seed. I can understand that. Norman Powell, I'm so happy for Norman Powell, by the way. I mean, what a story. 46th overall pick. Just grinded to get where, I mean, the lengths he went through, the progressions he's made through his NBA career to get to this point. 32-year-old, second-round pick, first-time All-Star. Congratulations to him. He's putting up outstanding statistics this season. We always wondered in our Raptors days if he could scale this up to a starting role consistently. He's proven ever since we traded him how much of a mistake it was that we traded him, because he probably was deserving of an All-Star appearance last season as well. This year, he's upped it even further, 23 points per game. The efficiency may have dropped down a little bit, but I think this is a deserving All-Star here. I'm very, very happy for Norman Powell. I don't want to take that away from him. The guy that is on the bubble is for sure Pascal Siakam. This is for sure the player you could question, like, why is this player in ahead of Brandon Ingram? The record is a big deal. You know, for years and years, we had Pascal Siakam on the Raptors, and I thought, like, this is a player that's deserving of an All-Star appearance, and he wasn't getting in year after year. And all the time, people were talking about the record. The record is why he's not getting. The record needs to be better. Well, here we have Siakam on the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and he's getting in. It's just a little bit frustrating. I don't think record should matter as much as it does, but for all these years, it has mattered this much. So, like, you know, how come all of a sudden it doesn't matter? Again, I'm a big Pascal Siakam fan, so I'm thrilled for him. I'm thrilled for Norman Powell. Little bit upsetting that oftentimes a player, like, you know, you look at Siakam now, he's a 2-time All-Star with the Pacers. He'll have ever made 2 All-Star appearances with the Raptors. Norman Powell getting all this recognition now. Like the recognition OG Anunoby now gets with the Knicks. It's very frustrating that players tend to have to leave Toronto to get the respect that they always deserved while they were in Toronto. But let's not make this about, like, the Raptors as much necessarily there. Where I'm also not really having a very large problem with Brandon Ingram missing. I'm just trying to be a realist here. Like, I'm bummed. I'm upset. But, like, where I also think, like, Brandon Ingram doesn't get in, I don't even think if there's an injury here, or if, like, we could take out Siakam and put in somebody else, I don't even think he gets in still. I think, unfortunately, that place would go to Michael Porter Jr. I think this is probably the largest snub of all the players that missed out on an All-Star appearance. I mean, I get that the Brooklyn Nets haven't been great, but Michael Porter Jr. has proven he can be, like, a first option on offense. He's brought his game up to nearly 26 points per game, and he's doing it very efficiently, shooting nearly 40% from 3 on almost 10 attempts. Like, do you know how outrageous that is? a true shooting percentage above 61, almost 62%. Like, do you know how outrageous that is to do this at this level of usage, taking 18.8 field goal attempts per game? That's incredible. And I have to give him a lot of credit for being able to achieve that. So I think even if we took out a player and added in another, I don't even think Brandon Ingram would get in. But still bummed for Brandon Ingram. Now, I think also where there's some qualms with the teams here is Pascal Siakam, I think it's safe to say he's getting in because of the new format of the All-Star game. The All-Star game has transitioned to a Team USA versus Team World format. There are 2 teams of 8 that will represent Team USA and 1 team of 8 that will represent Team World. So it seems like the NBA forced themselves to satisfy the need for 8 Team World players. And as a result, I think that's why they had to go for Pascal Siakam. I actually haven't counted. I'm actually kind of wondering, does Norman Powell qualify as a Team World player for his representation of Jamaica? I'm actually not entirely sure if that's the case. Maybe we should just count the non-US players right now. So there's one there in Giannis, 2 here in Pascal, 3 here in Shea, 4 here in Jokic, 5 here in Doncic, 6 here, in Victor Wembanyama, 7 here in Denny Avdia, and 8 here in Jamal Murray. So I actually, unless I'm making a mistake here, it seems as though Norman Powell... Oh, no, because Karl-Anthony Towns represents... Karl-Anthony Towns represents Dominican. So I'm not sure which one is which. Anyways, I think it'll be Karl-Anthony Towns representing Team World as a player who's played for Dominican at the FIBA level. I'm not sure Norman Powell's actually represented Jamaica at the FIBA level. Regardless, very much feels as though Pascal Siakam's inclusion had something to do with Team World, where I'm not upset at the NBA for changing the format here, because the format is so tired for sure in the All-Star game that it kind of needed a shake up, and at least they're trying something. It's not going to make me watch, but at least they're trying something. The only issue that I have with it is being an All-Star is such an accolade for NBA players, and it's treated as such an importance by the media that, it really should be. And they've done a good job of making it so it's not position dependent, right? That was definitely an improvement on it. But I do see an issue here where maybe not the most deserving players made it. Maybe this isn't the best 24 players most deserving of an All-Star appearance because we had to go to the Team World, Team USA format. That's just my one kind of gripe with it a little bit. And people have argued that's why Denny Avdia's gotten in. Now listen, from separating the person from the basketball, I can understand. Listen, before I separate, I can understand the distaste for Denny Avdia. I can certainly understand where people are coming from there. However, I don't think you could argue his status as an All-Star with the way he has played this season. He has been phenomenal for the Portland Trail Blazers, doing so much for that team. So I don't really see snubs here from a Western Conference perspective. I think that more the conversation on snubs definitely comes in the East, and I think it is a Team World format that has that is the reason that's the case. I feel for Michael Porter Jr. because I think he probably deserved to get in there. I'm bummed for Brandon Ingram, but with Giannis out injured, I wonder how this is going to change. Do they have to now choose a Team World player to replace Giannis? And if they do, I'm actually wondering who that player is going to be. But all in all, let's take it positive. Scottie Barnes is an all-star for the second time. Last time it was an injury reserve. This time, there really was no doubt about it.